All right. So
So I don't have the 10 mistakes one. Do you have that one?
I don't have that one, but I do also have the 20, whatever, or 5 or
That one.
20. I'm wondering if there was a video link in that email where the other 15 are kind of hidden. But
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
if I know you and me, we can do a nice along the first five,
Okay. All right.
if necessary.
Plus, I wanted to go back, remember, to touch on one of the topic, the whole spiritual topic for a
Yeah.
couple minutes,
Yep.
because
Uh,
I feel like I gypped Craig from some conversation about what he is really concerned about. Like, God? Talk to me.
what
What are
he
your
is,
beliefs? Yeah.
what he is a milestone. Um, the episode where we concentrated mostly on Craig's article, or got us talking about faith and what we started it off by me me kind of grilling you a little bit and or telling you about the last week's conversation with Amy,
Oh,
and
yes, 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 yes. That was
how you
fun.
got scolded.
Yes.
But titled the rest of the two-part series episode, what WWJD,
Yay.
because it was so much about faith and some of the hypocrisy in faith, or
Yep.
the people that practice it,
Yep.
or don't practice it enough,
Yep.
or out of practice. And that's where you had mentioned his article that he did for the Expression.
Hmm.
And with the length of that conversation that we got into, as so often happens, I put that into two episodes. I split it up
Okay.
and gave our listeners a break. That created episodes number 39 and 40.
I had 40.
In
Well,
season one,
here,
you have 40 episodes.
40 episodes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I'm into, or at least I've recorded 4 complete years of Be Inspired. I'm into my fifth
Wow.
season. I'm into my fifth season. Do you believe that? I mean,
We
God.
talked about that. When do your seasons start and stop?
February, the
Okay,
end of
so you're
February.
wrapping up season five.
Excuse me.
Are you wrapping up season five, or is that what you're going to start in
I'm
February?
starting in February, season 5. Yeah.
Okay, all right, because we said we were going to keep these seasons with both sides now consistent with that.
Oh, okay. All
Uh,
right.
uh,
Well, let me quick
so-
look while I have it.
yeah, if you have like
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
a
so
oh,
February 2nd is the beginning of season 5.
easy enough. Yep,
Okay?
yep,
Now, when
yeah,
I started, it was the end of February, but
yeah,
must have sneaked in some extra episodes during season. Well, I know I did. I know that I did one with you and me when you were around for Thanksgiving that became an extra one.
yeah.
And I think I inadvertently added an extra one when I was talking with Michael Barnett and Ted Holman. That got, I didn't reschedule it right, or I didn't schedule it right. I wanted to change
Yeah.
it from one date to another, and I ended up not doing that. So I had two that week. So, anyway,
Uh,
so it ends up now that it's the beginning of February, which is fine,
okay.
which is fine. Begin season 5. Okay?
Keep that for the beginning of our season two.
Sure. That sounds
I
good.
think with the amount of time that we got left in January, see us falling out of favor with the fun that we're having with
Oh,
both
yes.
sides now when we go from 2 episodes a week to 5 or 6.
5 episodes. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know what we're doing today, but let's just see what happens. How's that?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Um,
you split. I'm so happy you're doing the editing portion, the all the technology things.
well, that's why uh, I forget how this conversation came up, but
Excuse me. I had to
um,
sneeze and cough at the same time. That's a trick.
I know. Yeah, that hurts.
Well,
Um,
no, it's very satisfying.
I forget when we first started. You said something about seemingly like dominating or steering the conversation or something like that. And I'm like, no, that's fine because now you have like your contribution to it.
Mhm.
and I do all the tech and all the other. I want to start doing more with the thumbnails, the picture covers. We talked about Canva in the earlier meeting today.
Okay.
Um, Up until now, I've only occasionally did a different thumbnail for each episode.
Yeah.
We did one, I think, for the election when we interviewed the school board
Okay.
members,
All right.
and I did them for the holidays, Christmas
Oh,
and
okay.
New Year episodes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm just seeing,
Well,
there's too much
can the thumbnails
uniformity.
be memes, or
Um,
don't you want to
one of the things,
copyright that? Is that an
um,
issue?
no, what I do with like up the middle, especially usually doggy traders as well, is that there's something relevant from the episode
Hmm.
in but we're often just talking about topics that unless it's political, unless we put like Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump's face on it, which I can
Hmm.
do without.
Yeah,
Um,
please. Yeah.
the one thing, the one thing I was thinking of doing was putting the season and episode number on just the continued cover that we use. So at least that changes.
That's helpful. Now, I was asking because our recent episodes about religion and whatnot, I had sent you a meme about different religions. Do you remember that?
Yes. Uh-huh. I do.
Okay. I was just thinking, could that be your thumbnail for at least part one?
Yeah, possibly.
It was just,
And
it's,
I
yeah,
don't have any of those uploaded yet, so it wouldn't be too late to do a new thumbnail. And the thing that I do with Canva is for places like YouTube or any other video that has a landscape
yeah,
of,
yeah. I hear you.
I do the thumbnail,
Hmm.
and at the same time I just cut and paste or copy and paste into a square version
Hmm. Yeah, I hear
for
you.
the audio podcasts
Yeah,
because it's a different look on
yeah,
each platform. And that way there's sometimes not as much of the artistic stuff,
yeah.
the different figurines and whatever that is on the thumbnail fits
Yeah.
on the cover because it's a
Okay.
smaller space,
Yeah.
the rectangle as opposed to the square.
Yeah.
And I just, edit out accordingly. If there's
Hmm.
lesser material, then I just leave that out. I
Hmm.
never make the square too crowded.
Hmm. That's good. Less is more. Yeah.
It's more about the message, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah. Yeah.
what
Well,
were you
you know,
thinking?
give some thought as to how you might want to direct me to look for thumbnails, if they are photographs that we take or memes that we find or something. Just if you need my involvement at all, let me know. That's the only point.
I would
I don't
just
need to
say
be
for
involved.
yeah, no, if you ever collect a topic, like
Okay.
say we talk about one of Craig's articles,
Hmm.
if he has an approved headshot
He does.
of himself, we could
Yes.
always put that in
Yeah.
and,
I
and
got
go
that
with
easy.
the article.
Yeah. I tell you what, just ask,
Yeah.
Jane, do you have anything? And I will either find something or tell you I don't have it. Okay.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, just like you have sent your episodes from Be Inspired,
Yeah.
and you
Those, I
sent
can always, yep.
that sometimes. Just the same thing. If you have a topic for us, and you see something that came with it,
Hmm.
there was like that meme that you sent.
Yeah.
That something like that comes with an article that you find that you want to talk about. Just
Yeah.
send me that too, or if it's in the link, just point it out. And
Okay.
otherwise, if you don't send something, then I'll know you don't have it.
Okay. All right. I'll give some
That's
thought to
easy
it.
enough for you. Yeah,
For the first part of what we talk about today, possibly that meme I sent about the beliefs of different religions might work to some degree. That's all
yeah,
I'm saying.
hmm
Okay.
yeah, absolutely does. Because we actually talked about that. Yeah, that was the
Exactly.
point we actually mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thumbnail could be for that two-part series, part one and part two. I don't know. You'll figure it
Yeah,
out. You're good
yeah.
at that.
I'll look it up.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the email. That is a video, and I think that's where the other 15 uh,
Okay.
items are. But I think with these, because
Well,
we
I
actually,
know that we violated most of those 10.
yeah, that's going to have to get pushed off again because I don't have that with me. What I have with me is the 20 ways to be a great radio presenter.
Yeah, I have that one too.
Obviously, very easily fit into podcasting in that it's audio only.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that first five that they use in the introduction is, I'm going to say probably five of the top. They probably didn't count down to the best. They probably started with the best,
Well, they
given that
should.
prepare beforehand is one of the one.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I think we're already warmed up for it because we kind of sort of talked about that. Our listeners aren't
we
aware.
did.
You and I
Yeah.
were just on an hour and a half call together with a bunch of other podcasters that I
Yeah.
attend every Thursday morning. And I think we talked about a lot of these issues in that one, or not issues but suggestions in that one.
Suggestions. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, preparing beforehand. You're good at that. You've got the research in front of you, which I just really admire. I kind of go off the top of my head or with something that I read recently, but I'm not good with keeping details in my head. So I like to have a topic in mind beforehand,
yeah,
something interesting that I've read. For example, I've used a number of Craig's essays to spur on some of our discussion because you know it tightens up what we're trying to say. And so this one today, what I wanted to do just a little bit was to continue the whole spirituality discussion
yeah.
that we ended with in episode 40. Okay.
Right.
Um, so I'm going to just throw it out to you. Um, I had sent I had sent a meme to you about the I guess statements or mission statements of a variety of different religions. Let's see, let me call it up. Uh, in addition to Christianity, of course, the primary teaching of every religion, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Sikhism, Hinduism, Jainism, Islam, Buddhism, and Taoism. And they all, in that particular meme, basically say the same thing. I mean, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now, some of them expressed it, at least in this meme, in a more negative way. Don't do anything to people, or think about what you don't want to happen to you, and don't do that. I think Christianity is a little more positive, do unto others, as opposed to don't do unto others. But they all really said the same thing, which, in my experience, in my education about comparative religions, that's basically what I found. That it is that the moral code is quite simple throughout a variety of religions. Now, what's different is what is the metaphysical part. Like, how is the world organized? How did we get here? Why are we here? And so I'm just going to throw that out to you. What is your belief system? Would you like to talk about that?
Sure.
Or go. Do you
Um,
believe there's a heaven, a hell? Do you believe there's a God that wears a beard and has angels
looks like
flying around
Morgan
him?
Freeman.
Pardon
Looks
me?
like Morgan Freeman, or
Oh
looks like Morgan
yeah.
Freeman or George.
Oh yeah.
Tracy and George. What George? Who else?
Burn?
George
No.
Burns when he played. Yeah,
Yeah.
George Burns
Yeah.
played
Yeah.
God in the movie Oh God,
Yeah. That was great.
and
I love those movies.
the
But
sequel.
what
I think.
is your belief?
Oh,
Are you willing to talk about it? What is your belief system?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was uh, baptized and confirmed Protestant Christian,
Hmm.
and I still believe that. I'm much less into organized religion uh, for,
Hmm.
I want to say, in part political reasons. Not that I'm like protesting.
Hmm.
It's just that I see so much hypocrisy
Hmm.
in some of the things that are taught.
Well,
Um, yeah, as you know, I'm gay,
hmm.
and so many religions say that it's a sin.
Hmm.
I mean, up until roughly 50 years ago, it was also a mental disorder. Right before I was born, up until like the late 60s, early 70s, it was a mental disorder.
Were
And
you aware of that b-
as a kid,
designation as a kid?
y- y- um, I knew it was
Did you
bad.
struggle with that?
Yeah, because you know, well, now in today's identities, my biggest pet peeve with the gay community is that we're a demographic that's constantly flapping our yap about wanting to be accepted for who we are.
Hmm.
Yet we're the first ones to segregate.
Hmm.
And if you don't believe me, well, how do we identify? We're
Hmm.
not the gay community anymore. We're the
Hmm.
L G
G
B
B
T
T
Q
Q I
A
A.
A plus. I don't even know what all those letters stand for,
Hmm.
but it's because of this pride thing that's taken in what I think is a wrong direction. Everybody has to have their own identity.
But
Everybody needs their own letter.
isn't it because there's safety in identifying and finding your tribe? Isn't it because of
Um,
security and safety and a level of
well,
acceptance that may not be available in the larger demographic?
how can it not be available in a larger pool of people?
I mean, I'm talking about feeling safe and secure and
Yeah,
accepted.
yeah.
And is it not safer, more secure, and do you feel and able to feel accepted in a group which identifies in the same way that you do? And is that why there are
The
LGBTQ,
subgroups,
et cetera, et cetera? I
the
mean,
different
because I
subgroups, and
mean,
all the different
do
flags. Yeah.
do all gays do all gays accept transgender?
No,
Is there
no,
any stigma in the
yes,
community? There is.
it is. Yeah. I know somebody who is also gay,
Mhm,
and we both together admitted that we just don't get the whole transgender thing.
mhm,
That was a
mhm,
number of years ago, and I do get it. I know three people that are transgender. Well, let me say that again. I know three people personally that are all three male to female transgender,
okay.
and so biologically male,
Mhm, gotcha.
emotionally, mentally identifying as female,
Female.
and switching to the lifestyle, the what's called, I never knew this term either, cisgender life's, meaning that it's you conform with the stereotypes of society. So they're
Oh,
dressing like a woman,
okay.
is that type of, and I'm a cisgender man in that I'm masculine, and other gays don't know that I'm gay, type of thing, because I don't
Okay.
have the
Oh,
feminine
okay.
stereotype of the gay
No.
community, which
Yeah.
I know plenty of gays that are bigger men than I'll ever be,
Mhm.
and I know some of the queeniest straight guys. So so much for those stereotypes. But
Okay, but let's get back to the question. Okay,
yes,
you said
I got to
you
because
baptized and confirmed as a Christian. So, do you believe in heaven and hell? Do you believe in,
yes,
you know,
absolutely.
in somebody, a being that resembles
Yeah.
Santa Claus?
Yep. Santa Claus. Um, I've
Well,
had
with the
it.
beard, no.
You and I discussed. I've had personal experiences that just situations in my life that you don't get out of without somebody else's help.
I agree.
And one of the situations was the fact that I was, and I say it this way to kind of get somebody's attention when they're listening to the story, but for all intents and purposes, I was killed in a house fire. And
Back in when you were a kid.
college, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, between
college.
the
Okay.
second and third year at Penn State,
Okay. Right.
being on
Okay.
by the way, being on the 5 year program at Penn State. Um, it was the summer between those 2 years, and my kid brother, my baby brother, I'm the oldest of three, was sleeping in like a second living room in my mom and dad's house. It's called the loft. It's the middle space on the second floor, looks
Hmm.
down into the lower level. Their house is a log cabin and kind of resembles
Hmm.
the structure of a barn.
Hmm.
And fell asleep on the sofa that night and covered his legs and body with a blanket that
Hmm.
infected or affected irritated his poison ivy, because it was hot, started sweating, got itchy. He kicked the blanket off unknowingly onto a lamp that was still on.
Hmm.
He knocked the lamp over. A combination of the blanket, the rug beneath it, caught the area that he was laying in on fire, and of course woke him up when his legs were hot,
Hmm.
to use his words. And he tried to alert everybody else and get out. When I moved up to State College later that fall, I had my first nightmare about the event.
Hmm.
And as I actually just talked about this yesterday on the radio show, um, and there's aspects of a nightmare when, especially if it's from a traumatic event, if there's changes in the nightmare from the event, usually you can see this part really happened, but this part over here is the exaggeration making this the nightmare.
Hmm.
And you can usually tell the difference between the two while you're dreaming. It just never occurs to you like, oh, I'm just making this judgment about the dream. Dummy, this is a dream. Just go back to sleep.
Hmm.
You can't pull out of that mode while you're dreaming. Most people can't. So I had the first nightmare, and I get up and walk out of my bedroom. And the moment I'm out of my bedroom and into the loft space, I'm wringing wet sweated. And that's when I knew that there was a fire. And I heard my brother yelling in like a screeched, very stressed voice, like when you're in a panic,
Hmm.
trying to get mom and dad up, and he was standing on the step.
Hmm.
That is real life. In the nightmare, all that happened, but when I turned and looked and saw him standing on the steps, he was burning.
Oh shit.
Um, and of course, I knew that wasn't
Right.
consistent
Right.
with reality, but it also scared the hell out of me as a
Hmm.
nightmare. That's why it's called a nightmare.
Hmm.
In the nightmare was also a moment where I was lying in bed and somebody touched my bicep, shoulder, and shrugged me and shook me. Jane, get up. It's time to eat dinner. That kind of waking up from a nap or waking up from sleep,
Hmm.
and woke me. And I woke up and I looked, and there was a man standing beside my bed.
Hmm.
And white robe, and I'll just say
No
it,
kidding.
like Jesus period type dress, long brown hair, beard and mustache. course, having just said it, it looks like I'm describing Jesus.
Hmm.
I don't know. I never met the guy.
Hmm. And it's entirely possible that whatever energy that is the creative force in the universe assumed that presentation because
Yeah.
it would speak to you. It would speak to your beliefs. It would speak to your experience. It would speak to what you've been taught and so forth.
But, yeah, even more simple, I because of my faith, I do believe that was Jesus.
Hmm.
Do I know that?
No,
No. That's what I
no,
just said. I never met the guy.
yeah.
Maybe he was busy that day and he
Hmm.
sent Muhammad or Abraham or
Hmm.
one of his disciples.
Hmm. Well, I have friends who are who research and write about the fact that the creative force in the universe is merely energy, just energy that assumes whatever presentation costume is acceptable to us at a particular moment. I have friends who believe that the creative force, being just energy, um, what can do anything, and if we are able to connect with that creative force, we can do anything also. Heal ourselves from major diseases, transform ourselves into other spaces and times,
Yeah.
places, um, build the pyramids and the statues on Easter Island and a
Yeah.
thousand other amazing
Stuff that was physically not
things.
possible when they were built. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I am fascinated by the research in physics that allows that understanding or that belief system that the creative force is merely energy. I am fascinated by the physics that kind of supports that. It makes it more difficult, I think, to believe in because there's no anthropo whatever that word is. I can't say
Anthropology.
it this
Yep.
way. There you go. It's the adjectival form of that. Um, it makes it more difficult to believe because it's not human looking. Okay, and I think we
So,
invented the human looking personifications in order to make it easier for our paltry minds to absorb. Anyway,
so
that's my
I,
current belief. That's my current
I
belief.
understand that. I
And
understand.
yeah.
I'm not going to say that it's wrong because then I would be a hypocrite myself.
Mm,
Like the ones that I always use an example. Do you know? It's a specific item. What does the number 93 million identify? What is that?
oh, come on. I'm not good with guessing games, but I'm
That
thinking
is
it's the distance between something and something.
exactly,
Between
exactly.
the Earth and the Sun. Is that right?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
93 million is the average
Hmm.
distance in miles between planet Earth and the sun.
Hmm.
Would you like to have $1 for each one of those miles?
Mm. Mm.
Or would you like to have $1 for each mile from here in the next solar system,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
is light years away?
Hmm.
Let's define light year.
I can't. My brain isn't that big.
A light year is the distance
Hmm.
that light travels
Hmm.
at the speed of
Speed of
light
light. Hmm.
for a year without stopping. No
Wow.
bathroom breaks, no refilling for gas. And the number of those light years is so
Hmm.
far away,
Hmm.
we'll never get there.
嗯 Mhm. 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 Mhm.
We'll die.
Mhm.
So for you, and I'm saying you in
Yeah,
general, facetiously, not you, Jane Stahl,
right.
to
For
say,
one, for one to say.
yeah, that we're the only ones in the universe,
Hmm.
that we're alone. I'm just going to say this the way I say it every other time. You're an arrogant fuck.
Hmm.
Who the hell are
JD
you?
and yeah, JD and
That,
I had
that
this discussion.
you know that there's
Hmm.
nobody else here because you
Hmm.
haven't seen them. Why are
JD
you
and
so important that they need to check in with you when they come to Earth?
I, right. I saw a video years ago as part of my teaching, um, in which it was, which has stuck with me forever. And it was like, pretend we are like an ant who has been living in a small ant hill somewhere. And one morning, that particular ant crawls out of the ant hill and says, "Oh my God, there's a bigger place in the there's a bigger place than where I have been my entire life." Okay, he crawls out of his ant hill. He doesn't realize for a while that what he has experienced is that he has crawled out of his ant hill and now he is under a pot, a flower pot. Okay. So he explores this new
Wow.
world. I mean, this new universe. He's now under he's out of the anthill, but he's under a flower pot. And after much time of researching, he crawls out from under the flower pot and thinks, oh my God, it's heaven. There's yet another reality beyond what I've been living. Little does he know he is under a fruit basket. How many other kinds of things will he eventually discover he has been captured within?
That's
And,
very
I
fascinating.
see myself as an aunt, you know? What
You're
flower pot am I? Yeah,
you're in a mountain range,
yeah,
and you
exactly.
discover and you realize your mountain range is a country, a continent.
There you go.
There's other tribes of ants on that
Yep,
continent.
yep.
You go for a swim across, a cup of water, and
Hmm.
you hit that other flower pot, and there's another continent with other ant colonies,
Hmm.
and then you're
So,
able to jump and you go out into outer space and
mhm.
leave that fruit basket.
But think about it. I mean, think about us as ants,
Yeah,
you know? And then we as ants, if we have any consciousness at all, are amazed at what has been built, and what ant in our universe could possibly have built a home or, a, a, a hothouse.
yeah,
And it seems to me that we are very much like ants and we do
yeah,
not know
100%.
anything. We don't know where we are, what else is out there, who has been around, what they have done. Okay. So I've got those things going on, but much
That's
like
one of the
you.
things I like about the intelligence community is that
Mhm,
we, in the intelligence community have a saying, and it's not orchestrated by the intelligence community. I know somebody smarter than us said it first, but you don't know what you don't
you
know.
don't know. Exactly. Yep. You
And so
don't
for
know
these
what you
people to
don't know.
say that, there's no such thing as ghosts, there's
Hmm.
no such thing as Bigfoot, there's no
Hmm.
such thing as, little green men. Well,
Hmm.
actually, we know now they're gray, but um, it just like I said, that's a level of arrogance that not even Donald
Hmm.
Trump can hit on.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so going back to faith is that I would not say your idea about the energy based on what I know and have experienced is wrong.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm just that into that human form identity. And you're right. And I just am not strong enough to see it.
Hmm.
One of my co hosts, actually, both of my co hosts on Yergz Tonight, are each to a degree, psychic. Dina doesn't really identify so much as a psychic as much as she's had visions that she can't explain that have come
Mhm.
very true.
Mhm.
Marcella, you want to know how a movie ends? She's your girl because
Mhm.
she hasn't seen the movie, but she knows how it ends.
Mhm.
What she does with tarot cards, no magician can ever copy.
No kidding. Well,
Uh,
I've had experiences too that convince me that there are energies, other worlds, other energies that we sometimes identify as ghosts.
yeah.
But I've had some experiences myself that have convinced me that they exist. Yeah,
So
yeah.
with my beliefs,
Hmm.
um, the Bible doesn't say, and I think we talked about this because you kind of giggled when I even started on it. The Bible doesn't say you have to go to church every Sunday.
Right. Just keep the Sabbath holy. Hmm.
Yeah, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. I do that every day.
Hmm.
Gotta send a
Hmm.
call to voicemail. I do that every day. I get up and I started doing it. I haven't done it today, but I'm going to after our session here. I would get up every morning and before eating, before having breakfast, which stands for break the fasting
Hmm.
from not eating overnight, I would go for a walk the 4 blocks out to the Gulf of Mexico. Actually, 5 blocks because I turn and go down the last side street to a open field, an open lot where I can stand right on a wall and look at the Gulf of Mexico. That's my church.
Hmm.
Even with that piece of property being private property, it's still a place per the owner where I'm
Hmm.
accepted. Most churches can't say that.
Oh, good point.
And why would I want to be a part of something that doesn't want to be a part of me?
Hmm.
When the Bible tells me I don't have to go there in the first place.
Hmm. Yeah. Well,
So
again,
now
I think.
back to your idea of the energy versus human form.
Hmm.
I don't discount that because again, based on my experiences, given that I've actually had experiences, that doesn't jive. And there was a story that is very relative in my neighborhood, even though this is just a fable. Very religious man lived on the water, and a storm came along and flooded the community. He and his family crawl up to the roof,
Mm.
and a fisherman comes by in a boat. Says, "Sir, hop on. I'll rescue you." He says, "It's not necessary. God will save me."
Mhm.
The Coast Guard comes by in another boat. Says, "Sir, hop on. We'll save you." He says, "That's not necessary. God will save me." The Marines come by in a helicopter. "Sir, we're going to lower a basket. Jump in." "Keep going, fellas. I'm good. God will save me." Waters raise, and he drowns. Hey, gang, we did it again. We talked long enough to create an episode before actually starting the episode. So, this will be an intermission. Take your bathroom break, refill your coffee or cocktail, and we'll see you back here